Well, hello, peeps. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Good morning, Jennifer. Do these look familiar to you? So, I love my crazy. It actually says I love my crazy husband, but we'll stick with I love my crazy because I'm feeling it today. Oh my God, it is Thursday. It is Thankful Thursday here in the land of Dispense. And today, I want to talk about signs. Oh my God, there are signs everywhere. If you're only willing to open up your mind, open up your heart, and actually see them. So, as you know, I have been spending the last few days in contemplation, writing lists, just kind of thinking about things. And yesterday, I know that I had said, like, oh man, sometimes I just feel like I just don't know. I just don't know. And so I went and I did some more thinking yesterday afternoon, went over to camp, and Smoke was incredibly snuggly yesterday. It's like, what did you do? What did you do? When someone's like trying to make up with you for something that you don't know if they actually did, and they're just being incredibly like generous and nice to you. That's what my cat was doing yesterday. So it's like, what the heck is he doing? But every time he would crawl up to snuggle, he would reach up and keep grabbing at my necklace. Now, this necklace has a lot of sentimental value as well as a lot of deeper meaning. And my necklace is a dragonfly, and it is filled with opal, which is my birthstone, and in the center is a purple amethyst. And Corey got this for me. It's one of the very first gifts that he bought for me. And there is not a day that I don't wear it, unless for medical reasons I must take it off. And so it has a lot of meaning to me. Dragonflies, hence the frames today, made by my beautifully talented friend, Jennifer. Dragonflies have always held like a deep meaning for me. They are very symbolic. I very much lean into the known symbolism regarding dragonflies, and I believe that there is weight in it. There's heft to what dragonflies symbolize and represent. And so yesterday I was working on stuff, and like Smoke kept grabbing at my necklace, which is, it's not completely unheard of for him to do, but for him to continue to do it over and over and over again when he kept jumping up into my lap, eventually it's like when you take like a wet, smelly towel and you swat somebody with it, like they can't ignore that, right? They just can't ignore it. And so he kept grabbing at my necklace, and eventually I had to go, oh, snap, like what is happening right here, right? And then, and then, a friend of mine reached out and was asking for some additional help in trying to solve a tech-related issue. So what did I do this morning before I hopped on to do my Dispense dish? I hopped online and I helped this friend. And I thought, my God, like seriously, if you could like look at yourself in the mirror and then grab the sides of that mirror and like shake it. So you're shaking yourself into an awakening. Could that work? Like if you take a friend and like you shake them, like, come on, get with it. You could do that to yourself if you held a mirror in front of you and shook the sides of it. Try it. I may try it later. I don't know. But it's so odd that there are signs that show up everywhere for you if you are open to receiving them. So I've been asking for some insight. I've been asking for some clarity. And like the dragonfly stuff kept coming to the surface. And for those that don't know, like I said, there's a lot of symbolism behind dragonflies, and they represent a lot of different things, and it all depends on first of all which specific lore you're reading about dragonflies, like what part of the universe that lore is generating from. But typically they represent change. They represent change in perspective, self-realization, and maturity. Me? Mature? And an emotional maturity that comes with understanding something at not just a surface level, but something deeper. And I love the fact that there are words like power and poise that get thrown around when you're talking about dragonflies. And the one thing that I absolutely positively love, and it's in regards specifically to a dragonfly's wings. And if you've never had an opportunity to see a dragonfly take flight, like if nothing else, look it up on YouTube and put it in slow motion so you could just see the absolute beauty that this creature carries, the weight and the awe-inspiring power that it has. So if you look at its wings, they look paper thin. They're iridescent, right? Very much like my actual wings on my toppers. And they have basically every color I have ever seen in the spectrum. But you don't see every single color every single moment you're looking at the wings. The color shifts depending on the angle and depending on the light that's falling on it. So there takes two things to show a very specific color on a dragonfly's wings. It takes A, the viewer's perspective, and then it B, takes another outside source, this light angle hitting it, and those two things collide together like some magnificent explosion to give you this color. And the whole idea behind like the iridescence of the wings and what symbolism that brings is that because you can look at a dragonfly's wings and in a nanosecond your view of that wing changes, the perspective, the colors, the iridescent level, all of these things can change in just a small shift. It represents the defeat of what's known as like self-actualized or self-created illusions. And I just think that is so incredibly spot on. Yesterday, if you didn't get a chance to join me, I was talking a little bit about how I struggle to identify things that I absolutely know to be true about myself and my abilities and my skills and the things I bring to the world as my superpowers versus the things that I hope and wish and pray that I do. So the things I know versus the things I think. And one of the examples that I used is this whole idea of hoping that I make a difference with my students and those that I work with, and not always being willing to accept the praise and the thanks and the shout outs that I get from them, when in fact I should think, like, if the same message is being given to me by multiple different people over multiple age levels with different personalities and different relationships with me, why shouldn't I take that as empirical evidence? And it's because I've been taught that, like, if you praise yourself, you're egotistical. And that is, like, we all know, like, that's just a farce. That's just so not true, because you need to be able to tell yourself things that you're good at. How on earth do you find what your actual true calling is if you never identify, like, what it is that you're good at? Um, and I just love the fact that the dragonfly thing cropped up so many different times for me in the last 24 hours. It's so scary that you can't ignore it. So when you think about signs, and you think about you're putting questions out there to the universe, and your universe may be, it may be religious, it may be spiritual, it may be empirical, but when you put questions out there and you're hoping for someone or something to help you discover an answer, you need to be thankful when those signs show up. When you ask for things and you receive them, you know, am I nervous? Yes. I'm always nervous. I'm, like, nervous to a fault, actually. It's like, you know, bite your non-existent fingernails off. But there has to be, like, something in your gut, like, there's some spark that it's not nerves, it's nervous energy. It's that excitement level where that pit in your stomach is going, I'm looking over the edge. Have you ever done that? Like, I'm afraid of heights. So when I look over something and, like, you get that pit in your stomach, like, ugh. Or when you get to the top of a roller coaster and you're about to go down, your stomach goes bleh. That's what that is. You can't ignore that. Don't explain it away. My God, those are the moments that you need to grab onto. And so a dragonfly is my spirit animal. I 110% believe that. It encompasses absolutely everything that I have ever wanted to be and everything that I've ever wanted my life to be: transformation, change, fresh starts, new beginnings. Like, I if it doesn't scream me, then I don't think there's an animal in the universe that screams me more than a dragonfly. And you can't take them for granted. They're small, they're beautiful. Just kidding. Um, but their wings are so powerful, and they hold so much awe-inspiring beauty in them. You can't deny them. You cannot deny their force. So I am going to grab onto that. And I think my next phase today is putting content together. Putting content together. And I think what I need to keep in mind is that when you are embarking on a journey, it is so incredibly important to remember not to lose your worth in the journey. And so one of the things I have always struggled with is how valuable is my knowledge? What is fair of for me to ask of others? And it's funny because my husband actually said to me, you bring something to people and they keep coming back to ask for more help. If that doesn't prove to you your worth, he goes, there's absolutely nothing I can say that's going to do that. And so he's right. But the hardest part is putting that into an action plan, creating like a business plan, creating a goal. Like that's where I get stuck because the teacher in me always wants to make sure that whoever I'm helping understands. Because to me, like that's always my ultimate goal. It's more important than grades. It's more important than anything. I actually got into a conversation with my principal about this not too long ago, and he said, "Well, why do you give them extensions?" And I said, are you seriously asking me that question right now?" And he goes, "I know, but humor me." And I was like, "Because walking away with skills is far more important than a number on a piece of paper." I said, "If you want me to be a hard ass, I will become a hard ass." I don't know if I actually can, but I told him I would. And so he said to me, he goes, "Well, there's a really fine line between making sure that everyone comes along and then being taken advantage of for the people in the back." And I knew what he was saying, and I get that. And I think that applies to building a business as well. Like there comes a time where you have to realize that your time and effort that you put in is valuable and worth something. What that is for me is where I'm kind of stuck. I don't have any business training. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what I don't know. If that even makes any sense. So today, I'm going to continue to look for signs. I'm not going to wear my dragonflies, however, because these guys live in my office. Because if my cat saw these, he would think they were his new toy, and then we would have problems. And I would be very, very upset with him. And I don't want to be upset with my little Smoke. So I'm going to go do some thinking, do some planning, do some research, and hopefully start putting something together that makes sense. But in the meantime, I got to start producing content. And I have to start thinking like, if I'm going to do this from a business model, I have to craft a business plan. What is my time worth? Is it worth anything? That's kind of where I'm at. But my dragonflies are going to guide me. So on Thankful Thursday, I am thankful for the universe speaking to me, helping me find signs when I need them most. And so for you, think about the last 24 hours of your life. Has there been something presented to you? Maybe it's in a cryptic way, but has there been something presented to you that you've ignored? And if there is, go back and revisit it. It's not too late. Be thankful that something in the universe is trying to guide you, and lean in a little bit more. Listen a little bit more intently. All right, that is all I have for you today. I hope that you have an amazing day. Please, please, please make the most of it because, as you know, it's just never, ever gonna happen again. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the Friday edition of the Dispense Dish. Bye, guys.